There we go. Good afternoon. I'm Paul Markle, Executive Director of the Barrie Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like to thank you for joining us for today's session, a conversation with Enbridge Gas, one of our community partners. I'd like to begin today's session with a land acknowledgement. In keeping with Indigenous protocol and building respectful relationships between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples in Canada, it's customary to acknowledge the traditional territories and ancestral lands of the Indigenous peoples. The Barrie Chamber acknowledges this sacred land on which we operate has been the site of human activity for 15,000 years. The land is the ancestral land of the Wendat, the Anishinaabe Nation, and the treaties that were signed for this particular parcel of land are the Williams Treaty, the Robinson Superior Treaty number 60, the Penetangwishing Purchase number 5, and the Nottawasaga Purchase number 18. We're dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture. We also recognize the enduring presence of Indigenous peoples on this land, and we're committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect. Miigwech. So Enbridge Gas is Canada's largest national natural gas storage, transmission, and distribution company based in Ontario with more than 170-year history of providing safe and reliable service to customers. Enbridge provides an affordable energy choice to approximately 3.8 million residents and businesses and are leading the transition towards a lower carbon future. Enbridge's environmental, social, and governance goals represent the next stage of our evolution as an ESG leader to ensure we are positioned to grow sustainably for decades to come. These include net zero greenhouse gas emissions, GHG, by 2050, an interim target to reduce greenhouse gas emissions intensity 35% by 2030, increased representation of diverse groups within our workforce by 2025, including a mix of 25% from racial and ethnic groups, along with new initiatives to enhance supplier diversity. And today we're going to discuss the future of energy and what Enbridge Gas is doing on the road to low carbon future. So with us today is Grant Kilpatrick, Operations Manager at Enbridge Gas for Niagara, Georgian Bay. Grant leads the operations and maintenance of the natural gas distribution system in the Niagara region and Georgian Bay, supports safe and reliable energy delivery to over 750,000 customers across 44 municipalities. Currently has 7 supervisory direct reports and unionized crews that respond to emergencies, perform pipeline repairs, customer work, and perform maintenance on Enbridge assets. And with over 31 years of experience at Enbridge Gas, Grant has held roles in various functions, including maintenance, training, construction, work management, damage prevention, and operations. He's been the work management functional lead for the implementation of Enbridge Work and Asset Management Project. He has also held positions in the Ontario Regional Common Ground Alliance, and he personally supports Enbridge's commitment to a safe workplace, including diversity and integrity and inclusion. BK, pronounced BK, Belanke, Director of Operations. There's my there's my Ron Burgundy moment, reading exactly what's on the screen. Director of Operations for Enbridge Gas in the GTA West and Niagara region. BK leads the operations, maintenance, and construction and growth of the natural gas distribution systems in Peel, Simcoe, and Niagara regions, and is accountable for safe and reliable energy delivery to over 750,000 customers across 44 municipalities. With over 15 years of experience at Enbridge Gas, BK has held roles in various functions, including engineering, distribution planning, damage prevention and safety, quality management, and operations of major projects. Her industry experience also includes commissioning of gas facilities in Peru, and she has a master in business administration from Rotman School of Business, Toronto Institute de Presa Madrid, and Bachelor of Applied Science and Industrial Engineering from the University of Toronto. She's a professional engineer in the province of Ontario. BK lives in Toronto with her husband and daughter. We also have with us Mary Tsai, Advisory Energy Solutions at Enbridge Gas. Mary has over 30 years of experience in the new construction industry, with her most recent position at Enbridge being Energy Advisor for Commercial New Construction and Municipal Energy Advisor. She promotes and encourages builders to develop and developers to participate in Enbridge savings by design for a low carbon future. Mary also works with the builder community on a provincial level with the OHBA, and currently is a member of the board of the OSCA, previously served on the board of directors for Sustainable Buildings Canada, Build, which is the Toronto Builders Association, and Niagara Home Builders Association, and stakeholder for Toronto Green Standards, Ellis Dawn. Low carbon future, in addition, is involved with numerous municipal energy plans. So that's a lot of words, lots of letters behind your names. Looking forward to your presentation, and we'll come back at the end with questions and answers. So for those watching, if you could put your questions and answers in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen rather than the chat, we would appreciate it, because it makes it much easier for us to curate those questions as we when we come back. But at this time, I'm going to hand it over to BK, pronounced BK, so to do the presentation, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
Thank you so much, Paul, for all those introductions. As Paul said, I'm BK Valkanja, and I'm the Director of Operations at Enbridge Gas for GTA West and Niagara region. And I'm here with Grant, Mary, and Keir today. We will all be available to answer any questions in the end. We all welcome the opportunity today to connect with our area's business leaders, and we're here for a number of reasons. First off, we'd like to give you an overview of Enbridge and what we stand for. Outline what we're doing to help the city of Barrie and communities across Ontario reach economic development and environmental goals, talk about how we can help businesses save energy and reduce costs, and finally engage in some dialogue with you throughout the Q&A section of this panel. I'm now going to hand it over to Grant to give you an overview of Enbridge Gas.
That's great. Thanks very much, BK. So I'll just talk a little bit about Enbridge as a whole. Enbridge Gas is part of the Enbridge Inc. family. So our liquids division, our Enbridge liquids division, deliver more than 25% of the crude oil produced in North America. We also operate and maintain over 27,000 kilometers of pipeline in North America. And I'll talk a little bit about some of those maintenance functions later on in the presentation. Our natural gas transmission area transport 20% of all the gas consumed in the US. Natural gas distribution services over 3.8 million customers, covering over 670 communities. Part of those communities are also in Quebec, in Gatineau, with our Gazifère division. Our renewable energies, our renewable energy division, since 2002, we've committed more than $7.8 billion to renewable energy and power transmission. Our renewable energy portfolio include 20 wind farms, 4 solar energy operations, 5 waste heat recovery facilities, a geothermal project, and a hydrogen electric facility operating in North America and throughout Europe. Our renewable facilities provide energy to power over 940,000 homes. And next slide, please. Okay, Enbridge, with the amalgamation of Union Gas and Enbridge Gas Distribution, on January 1st, 2019, we became the largest utility in North America based on volume, and also the 3rd largest based on the customers. We deliver the energy and have, and done so for more than 170 years over the combined history of our legacy companies. So approximately 3.8 million residential, commercial, and industrial customers. We manage $25 billion in assets across North America. Our pipeline mains and services, we have 147,000 kilometers of pipeline in the ground servicing. So that's mains out in front of homes and services up to individual customers. Our franchise generates about 40% of Canada's gross domestic product. We manage $25 billion in assets. Excuse me. Invest more than $1 billion in capital in the province annually, and another $1 billion in operational and equipment leases and power consumption and wages. Innovation to advance lower carbon natural gas solutions to immediately and affordably achieve meaningful carbon reductions. We'll expand on these later, but just to bring them all together, conservation energy efficiency is an area of focus, cleaner technologies, and green fuels with renewable natural gas and also hydrogen. So just As the operations manager for Georgian Bay and Niagara, I just want to touch on our focus on safety. So I've been here 31 years with Enbridge, and every year we continue to make safety our #1 priority. And it's refreshing to see over every year, there just seems to be something that we add that makes it better. And, I'm very proud to be a part of Enbridge and just being able to have that background and bring that former asset knowledge to the table. We've continued to invest heavily in our systems to ensure safety for all of our residents, businesses, and industries. We've got more than $2.9 billion invested in the past 8 years in system integrity alone, including large expenditures on expansion and general day-to-day operations. We've performed 250 pipeline integrity inspections. So that's where we'll go and dig if there's any question into the integrity of our systems. We'll go out and perform integrity digs just to ensure that those pipelines are safe and operating safely for our customers. Okay, next slide, please. Our commitment to the community. So Project Zero is a partnership with the Ontario Fire Marshal and local fire departments. So we go out into the communities and actually partner up with the fire departments. And for Barrie, for example, this year, they'll receive 354 combination carbon smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. It's really the first line of defense to carbon monoxide poisonings. Making sure that you have the proper maintenance of your appliances and equipment in your home is very important to make sure that you maintain those yearly. Our Federal Ontario Canadian Mental Health Association, we donate $45,000 to each organization. Gilda's Club in Muskoka, so they have an office actually in Barrie, right close to the Royal Victoria Hospital. And this year we're able to donate $2,000 to the Run Reflective fundraiser. And just going around our office, even there's about 50 people that report out of this this Barrie office, and a lot of those people have been touched by cancer in their family. So it's very rewarding. Fortunately, I'm one of the members of our community donations team. So it's very refreshing to be able to call up some of these organizations in the Barrie and Muskoka, Simcoe County region and just see how we can help them out. Leading into that, the Barrie Food Bank, we've been able to donate $1,500 to the Barrie Food Bank. I think actually we're in excess of that amount after this month. But once again, through our COVID-19 pandemic response, as we all know, COVID has touched us all. It drove some new procedures and responses for us, some safety procedures that, we don't have the option of not going in people's homes. So we implemented some safety protocols, screening ahead of time to make sure that the home was safe, and also keeping the customers safe, making sure that when we did enter a home that we did have our protective PPE on. And also the City of Barrie to provide $10,000 to community support and their energy plan for the Energy Symposium. And going forward, these are things that Enbridge prides itself on, being able to support these non-for-profit organizations within the community. And like I said, it's very rewarding for all of us here at Enbridge to be able to provide this support in the communities in which we operate. And this time now, I'd like to pass it back over to BK.
Thank you, Grant. Sorry, I'm getting a bit of a feedback. Another way we're supporting our communities is really by supporting the energy transition. To us at Enbridge, the energy future is definitely more important than ever, and it's also more efficient, more stable. And as Grant mentioned, we're continuing to build and maintain a modern infrastructure network. And as well, we're partnering, we're investing to provide cleaner energy sources. This is what will plan for the energy and environmental needs of future generations, in our opinion. And if we just think about growth globally, we know that within the next 20 years, population is expected to grow from 7.7 billion today to more than 9 billion. And with that, the energy demand is set to increase by 25%. And continued economic development depends on access to more affordable and more reliable energy. Closer to home, if we bring it close to our province, Ontario's population is projected to increase by over 30%, or almost 4.6 million by 2046. And the Barrie region continues to grow faster than the national average. So the important discussion now is how to meet the need for the energy that will support this growth in the most sustainable way possible. And we know the discussion is happening everywhere, in boardrooms and council chambers, at home, around the kitchen table, including here in Barrie, where the city has established its climate change goals. And we're committed to working with the city and helping achieve its goals, and keeping in mind that we're in fact working towards very similar goals, which I'll talk about with the next slide. So what we're doing at Enbridge for sustainability is outlined here. And today we will be focusing on the environment piece. We've been reporting on our environmental, social, and governance performance for nearly 2 decades now. And in November last year, we announced a series of ESG goals, including emissions reductions, increased diversity and inclusion, and governance representation. On the environment front, our goal is to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions from our operations by 2050, with an interim target to reduce emissions intensity by 35% by 2030. It's an ambitious plan that has put Enbridge on a path to a low carbon future. And here at Enbridge Gas, we are pursuing multiple pathways to support emission reductions in the company operations in support of these targets. We are making progress on a comprehensive GHG emission reduction strategy. And while this work is underway, we've taken some immediate steps to mitigate emissions in our operations by modernizing our equipment, capturing vented emissions from our compressor stations, by enhancing leak detection and repair programs at company facilities, which is expected to reduce both combustion-related and methane emissions. We're also working to help our customers and the communities we serve meet their carbon reduction targets. Collectively, we know that we're investing and advancing zero and low carbon energy solutions for the sectors of our economy that contribute the most to Ontario's carbon emissions, and that would be transportation, building, heat, and industry. And these sectors account for over 80% of Ontario's emissions, and tackling them will provide the greatest return on our energy transition efforts. So next slide, please. Before we talk about our goals in general and what we're doing to help the communities across Ontario, we'd like to focus a bit on Ontario's energy landscape and the role of natural gas, providing a low-cost, critical, and reliable energy source. It's critical in the sense that 75% of Ontario homes rely on natural gas for home and hot water heating. Natural gas services more than twice the energy needs of Ontario than electricity. Reliability-wise, if we look at Ontario peak energy demand, natural gas infrastructure serves more than 3 times the peak electricity demand. And finally, affordability. Natural gas is roughly half the cost of other energy sources, and that's without considering incentives from the governments. So our position is that to achieve realistic low carbon solutions that are reliable and affordable, energy systems must work together. we should be looking at multiple pathways to achieve this goal, and there really isn't a one-point solution to get there. Next slide, please. So, future of energy for Enbridge. Our approach to achieving our goals is through 4 pillars, and we summarize this by saying it's about less gas, more gas, green gas, and no gas, which is probably an easy way to remember it. And I'll speak about each briefly, and we'll be diving into some of them in the latter half of the presentation. When we say less gas, we're talking about getting our consumption to low as possible. So reducing emissions by helping customers use less gas. We'll be talking about these energy efficiency programs with Mary's section, and demand side management, which refers to incentives and programs designed to modify consumer demand and incent for efficient use of energy. And we've been doing this for a while, since 1995. We know that heating our homes and businesses generates roughly 1/4 of Ontario's GHG emissions, and there are market-ready solutions that can help decarbonize heating. And the first is to reduce energy use through aggressive conservation programs. The second pillar is more gas, or more replacement with gas. This is really referring to replacing oil, propane with cleaner burning natural gas for home and water heating, switching heavy duty transportation from diesel to compressed natural gas. For example, we recently announced a partnership between Enbridge and the city of Hamilton, which will fuel 137 CNG buses at a Fassville compressor station. And CNG buses produce 20% fewer GHG emissions than diesel and can reduce fleet costs by up to 50%. The third aspect of our plans is about green gas, which is the more exciting element, I would say, by most, or carbon neutral gas. So reducing emissions by using carbon neutral gas, either blending hydrogen or blending renewable natural gas from organic waste into our distribution system. In partnerships with the City of Toronto, we have announced that we'll be capturing about 3.2 million cubic meters of RNG per year to fuel the city's waste collection fleet and to heat city buildings. Another exciting news was last year, Enbridge announced a partnership with Walker and Comcor Environmental in Niagara Falls to build an RNG plant, which is expected to generate enough energy to heat 8,700 homes. So we're seeing RNG as a near-term win and hydrogen as a longer-term win. And we'll talk about both of these green solutions in a bit. And then finally, no gas. This is about looking at solutions other than gas. So geothermal, renewable energy, and Grant touched on it a little bit. Since 2002, Enbridge has been investing in renewable power generation facilities with the capacity to deliver over 2,000 megawatts of net zero emissions power to customers across Northern America and Europe. So whether you're looking to cut costs, reduce emissions, purchase new heating equipment, or just create a more comfortable environment, Enbridge Gas does offer a variety of programs, incentives, and services to help achieve those objectives. So when we talk about transportation, this is just some examples of the partnerships and the work we've been doing. In Ontario, the transportation sector is the largest single emitter of greenhouse gases. And to help lower emissions in this sector, we're focused on compressed natural gas. It's a market-ready solution for the long-haul transport market, as well as fleet and transit vehicles. CNG, or compressed natural gas, is basically natural gas that is compressed or put under higher pressure, allowing more energy to be stored in the same amount of space. And it can be used as a transportation fuel, or as a bulk fuel in processing, power generation, or for heating instead of other fuels such as propane, oil, or diesel. And CNG vehicles can cut fleet costs up to 50% and produce up to 20% fewer greenhouse gas emissions than diesel. And when the natural gas that's fueling the vehicle is renewable, then the environmental payoff is even greater and can actually be carbon negative. That's when we talk about renewable natural gas. And we actually have a quick video to show around renewable natural gas, which actually explains what it is. But basically, it's about taking organic material, recovering it, digesting it, and then taking the biogas, upgrading it, adding it to our system. And the resulting methane can be used just like conventional natural gas. And there's various ways or examples of this right now that we've taken a lead in. For example, as I mentioned, the city of Hamilton put its first carbon negative transit bus on the road, which is fueled by renewable natural gas created at a London biogas facility and supplied by Enbridge Gas. The RNG produced at the London facility is considered carbon negative because it's taking organic waste from a landfill and preventing methane from that landfill being released into the atmosphere. Hamilton is just one municipality reaping the benefits of RNG. We've also partnered with the City of Toronto to harvest methane from organic waste to fuel waste collection trucks and reduce the city's fuel costs. So using RNG to fuel fleets like waste disposal trucks, transit vehicles, or to heat buildings gives municipalities a very cost-effective way to take action on energy plans and lower emissions, which also means lower carbon taxes. We're seeing a growing number of municipalities in Ontario asking how we can help them harness the energy in their landfills, wastewater treatment facilities, and organic collection programs. So in Ontario, we're working to promote, identify, and develop new sources of energy to add to our systems. And we recently announced some exciting projects like the one I mentioned in the RNG plant in Niagara Falls, which is the largest RNG plant in Ontario. And we expect it to be operational late next year. One thing I'd also like to touch on is our voluntary renewable natural gas program for our customers, which collects $2 a month from residential customers who are interested in supporting our procurement of renewable natural gas. So homeowners can opt in. The program is called Opt Up, and it's really an affordable and convenient way to blend renewable natural gas into the natural gas supply. So in addition to all these exciting projects, existing projects, we're also exploring 4 other municipal projects, as well as other opportunities with private companies that are interested in creating renewable natural gas for sale as system gas. So we'll take a quick look at the video that was put together, which I think is a good way to capture what RNG is.
Ontario is committed to a clean energy future. Enbridge Gas is doing its part with innovative renewable natural gas, or RNG. You may think of wind and solar energy as renewable, but food scraps, farm waste, and sewage can also provide carbon-neutral energy. First, we collect waste into a digester tank. As it breaks down, we capture the methane released. Once the biogas is cleaned and upgraded, it's turned into RNG. It can then be added to the Enbridge Gas system to heat homes and businesses, power factories, and fuel transportation, helping Ontario reduce greenhouse gas emissions and manage waste more effectively. RNG is fueling the future in the fight against climate change. Learn more at enbridgegas.com/RNG. Ontario is committed to a clean energy future.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kier. So RNG, like I said, we're seeing this as a near-term solution, and hydrogen is a future-term solution. And it's another promising opportunity, and it's currently enjoying some significant momentum due to various reasons. We know that the realization that hydrogen will be needed to meet the environmental targets, as well as Canada's hydrogen strategy, which incorporates clean fuel regulations and funding. We're as at Enbridge Gas, a leader in renewable hydrogen with the launch of North America's first utility scale power to gas plant in Markham, Ontario in 2018. And you can see again briefly how we are investing in power to gas and how we can extract hydrogen from power. And basically, it's a technology that enables the storage of energy in the form of hydrogen gas by converting electrical power through the electrolysis of water into basic components of hydrogen and oxygen. And the oxygen can be reused or vented into the atmosphere, while the hydrogen can be stored for future energy use. The hydrogen is produced is environmentally friendly depending on its electricity source and can be stored in pressurized tanks, the gas network, or in geological forms. For perspective, the facility we have is capable of producing 1,000 kilograms of hydrogen a day, which is enough to fuel 100 fuel cell cars driving 1,000 kilometers a day. And this output could be doubled without expanding the facility's physically small footprint. Also, again, in Markham, what we're doing is we're blending this renewable hydrogen gas to the existing Enbridge Gas natural gas network, reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The hydrogen blending project is the first of its kind in North America, and it definitely represents an important step in greening the gas supply that millions of Ontario homeowners and businesses depend on to heat their homes and energize industry. The hydrogen blending project allows Enbridge Gas to provide initially blended gas to about 3,600 customers in a portion of our distribution system in Markham. And if successful, the project will help Enbridge Gas pursue additional and larger scale hydrogen blending activities in other parts of our distribution system. So what we expect is over the longer term, as costs for hydrogen, for renewable natural gas continue to decline with innovation and deployment, we will continue to increase the percentage of RNG, renewable natural gas, and hydrogen in the gas we serve, decarbonizing our natural gas system in the longer run. So I would now like to pass it off to our energy advisor, Mary Tsai, to talk about how Enbridge can work with and support local businesses in energy conservation goals.
Great. Thank you so much, BK. Next slide, please. So as you can see, Enbridge has some really exciting initiatives that are happening to move us towards a low carbon future. And I'm really going to talk about the conservation end of it. But before I get started with the conservation, I just wanted to just let you know that Enbridge has been in the conservation since 1995. And we talk about how many millions of gigajoules we've saved on energy. But I just want to put it in perspective for everyone here that since 1995 up to 2018, we have actually saved enough energy to put 2.2 million cars off the road for a year, which is really significant, or heating 13.1 million natural gas homes for a year. So basically, for every dollar we spend on conservation, we're saving $3. So it really, kind of puts things in perspective on how this is working for everyone. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the conservation programs we have. And every business has unique needs and challenges. Whether you manage an apartment building, a greenhouse, or large industrial facilities, we have energy solution advisors like myself who are experts at providing custom solutions that meet your business needs. So you may have ideas on what you need to do, but if you contact us, we can actually go out and assist you and help determine the best path for your business. Next slide, please. So basically, our programs are divided into three major groupings. So one is called a prescriptive, and this is applied to technologies that don't require any calculations. It's a straightforward approach to providing incentives for certain technologies, like a high efficiency boiler. So if you want to think of it also like a coupon, so if you buy a high efficiency boiler, you get X number of dollars off. So we have a number of technologies that we incent. And then we also have another where it's a custom. So there, a custom requires some level of calculations to verify the savings over the lifespan of the project. And the most common example here would be a condensing boiler, for instance. And that's where one of our energy advisors would come out to your place and do a walkthrough. And then the final one we have is really operational improvements. And that's really a lot with smart controls, such as run smart or run it right. And what we really do is we demonstrate savings by utilizing specific site analysis of energy consumptions. Next slide, please. So basically, what we'll do is we'll really work with you. So what I always advise everyone is before you do any type of renovation or you're building new, we have a program that can assist you. So when it comes to more complex projects, you may not always know where to start. So for this reason, we recognize there are times when an energy audit or a study is necessary to give the direction you need. We at Enbridge, we will take and really make it a little bit more palatable for you by covering up to 50% of the costs. And several benefits can result from these, including identifying problem areas, prioritizing energy improvements, or simply providing justification for undertaking certain projects you have in mind. Next slide, please. So again, this what I'm going to talk about now is savings by design. This is really targeting new construction. So essentially what happens with this is we work with the developers and the builders on this, and we take their project. So there's really falls into three categories. One being residential builders. So that would be your subdivisions. The second one is commercial or multi-res, and the third being affordable housing. So essentially what we do is each project is put through this savings by design. It's customized to what you want to investigate further. So we target both energy and non-energy related items. So for instance, if you're looking at a new project, you would contact us, you fill out a very simple application. We would have what we refer to as a planning session. So really that is to discuss, what technologies you want to investigate further. Is it solar? Is it geothermal? If you want a high performance building, do you want to go near net zero? So based on what you have, your aspirations as well as your challenges, we'll have subject matter experts there at the workshop to review your project. Now, these subject matter experts, a lot of these are academia. So we're not talking, they're, brand specific. They're going to talk about technologies. So what happens is we also have real-time modeling. So right after the planning session and prior to the workshop, we will create 3 energy models. One being the base case. So that's basically what the builder developer installs. The next one would be the reference. So that's referring to OBC 2017 with the SP10 supplement. So you know where you stand there. That's bare bones. And the third one is going to be the model we're going to use during the workshop. So through the presentations of all the different technologies, you may choose different technologies, and we can do a real-time modeling to see what effect it has on your building. So at the end of the day, you receive all of this, and should you build 20% greater than code for your as design model, you would get $15,000. And then for your as built, you get another $15,000. Now for the affordable housing sector, it's a little bit more lucrative. They have a little bit different thresholds, but I definitely would suggest that you take a look at our website. And if you're planning any type of project like this, this is definitely something to look into. And I know that Grant talked a little bit about earlier about how we're partnering with Barry. Just to to make you aware too, is that with Barry, we're very active in the Simcoe County Home Builders Association. I myself have been on many of the ice fishing tournaments, and I understand that a lot of these proceeds are really geared and sent to the hospital. And I know the last 2 years, unfortunately, is not happened due to COVID, but we at Enbridge are a huge supporter of this. And I just wanted to give you also some names of some builders and developers who have gone through some of the savings by design locally. So we have Country Homes for the residential, San Diego Homes, we have Marshall Homes, Sean Mason, Prycon, and Parkbridge. And for the commercial aspect of it, we've had Simcoe County School Boards gone through, Parkview Homes, Georgian College, the Toyota building out in Tottenham, Clearwater Farms, and Riviera for their Barry retirement. New building going in, as well as Sean Mason. He's got 2 projects mid-rise. He did one on Veterans Way and the other one on ESSA. And then for our affordable, we've had Simcoe County went through for their Collingwood, and as well as Simcoe Housing for their Victoria yards as well. So as you can see, there's been a lot of participation. You can reach out to any of these builders and developers. I am sure they will attest to how wonderful this is, the program, because it does focus in on energy, but we also focus on non-energy, such as indoor air comfort, stormwater management. And especially now, as buildings and houses are becoming more tighter, we've got to make sure it makes it more livable for the occupants in the building. Next slide, please. I think I might be finished. I am. So I'll turn it back over. So please, again, I just want to stress again that if you do any type of renovation or new construction, please visit our website, and there'll be tons of programs there that you can take advantage of. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Mary. It's definitely great to hear exactly what's happening in the city of Barrie and the impact we've had there. So just to wrap everything up, this is definitely a very high level overview of the ways we're working to support the economic and environmental goals, not just in Barrie, across Ontario, but by continuing to deliver the energy the communities we operate in want and need. And we're proud and excited to be leading the way to a lower carbon future. We think it's a great story to share, and we look forward to building on our long-term relationship with the Chamber and with you, the community's business leaders. And we're happy to take any questions you might have.
That's awesome. Thanks, BK. If you want to stop the share, then we'll all wind up on screen here. Unless people want to hide. And I got some questions here. Didn't have a massive attendance for this, but that's okay. That's what's been happening these days. We're finding that we're getting less people on the live, but then we put this up on our YouTube and on the Facebook Live, and we get a lot of views post production or post event day. So if you bear with me, there's a number of questions here that we can look into. So I found it quite interesting. I think there's there's a lot to be said for the way that technology can really sort of help, and I didn't know that's how they did a lot of those conversions. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and the fact that there's incentives out there for businesses right now, I think it, again is something that people may not be aware of. So thank you very much for the information today. So can you, to that matter, can you speak to any of the provincial or federal grants that might help a business looking to invest in energy saving measures? I know if you went back to the solar side, there was microfit programs, but on this front, being that we are in Barrie and accessible to natural gas, or there are other things out there that can help.
I could take a stab at that if you wanted to. Well, right now, as far as the federal programs, the only one I'm fully aware of is right now is Greener Homes, and that's for your homes individually. What I do recommend though for all businesses is, definitely check our website, but also check your local hydro site too, because a lot of times there's some incentives that could be found in that way as well. But currently, to my awareness, I do not know of any federal or provincial outside of the utilities offering incentives at this point.
Okay, fair enough. I know that there was some incentives that went out as part of the COVID relief package, but I believe they're closed at this point. But good to know. I mean, our local utilities have been really good in helping us out with things. Any suggestions then for businesses that don't own their own premises to save energy? I know I used to do energy audits. I worked for McDonald's for many years, and we do energy audits all the time just to see, if we had gaps or those kinds of things. But any suggestion for businesses that can help to save some energy?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. With a lot of our programs, as long as you're paying the gas bill or the utility bill, you can take advantage of it. A lot of people may not know that. They may think that because they're renting it, that or leasing it, that they can't qualify, but they can. And another thing I want to also, because people, who own businesses are also residents of Barrie too, that, we also have programs for affordable housing too. So that's something to consider if somebody's on fixed income or, have government assistance. There's programs out there that can help them become more energy efficient as well, even though they may not own their own home.
Cool. Okay, that's great. In terms of, are there any other, rebates that Enbridge offers along these lines, or?
We have a lot of rebates right now. There's a lot of different rebates for homes, industrial, commercial, like I said, affordable housing. So definitely, I would do a Google search or, check our website as well as your local utility too.
Okay, so that's directly able to find that on your website.
Yeah.
And we'll add that into the chat after the fact. So as far as, just a different question that's more along the lines of, I think something that Grant was talking about in giving back to the community. If organizations or charities are looking for support, what's the best process, for them to do that?
So I can answer this. So honestly, I would say the best thing would be to email myself. Okay. So I'm quite comfortable with you putting my email address up there after the presentation. Sure. They can email me directly, and we can put them into the group. I know we reached out to local mayors this past year just to kind of get an idea as to where the support was needed in the community, but we're definitely willing to look at anywhere that needs help.
Awesome. Actually, Grant, if you want to put that in the chat, it'll get saved when we actually save the presentation, as we can include that afterwards. Yeah, okay. I know we did. I can remember that up in Letitia, I'm part of the Rotary Club in Barrie, and that there was some work that you guys had done with the fire department on carbon monoxide detectors and a few other things. Great program. I think that one was more focused on low-income housing and a few things along those lines, where we literally went door to door and helped them out on dropping things off to different businesses. So great program, right. And great community partner from that perspective as well.
Yeah. And that's why I like getting it in the hands of the fire department. They're the ones that know where it can be, where they can be best placed, and into areas that maybe can't afford carbon monoxide detector. They make sure that they get them out to the right people that need them.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. Yeah, for sure. And again, a great resource from you guys to the community for sure. So, restaurants right now, and we're going to find, I think, very shortly that there's going to be, further capacity restrictions. We did a webinar last week with the health unit. So looking for ways for restaurants to save costs. What can a business do that must work on a fixed schedule, such as a restaurant, to reduce energy costs associated with peak usage? Are there, any tactics or strategies you can suggest to them to be able to help save a few dollars, especially when they're tight?
Yeah, again, I would definitely, Paul, direct them to our website. We can have one of the energy advisor do a walkthrough, and they can make recommendations. And at that time, they can see what the impact is and what makes more business sense for them on the return on investment. Because we know that right now they're all challenged with everything that's happened. So, you really want to make sure that if you're going to invest these dollars in for energy efficiency, that you're going to get the payback. So I definitely would suggest them to contact us and let us do a walkthrough and help, at least give you some type of a blueprint on what steps would be the best taken.
Yeah, I know a lot of the larger companies. I worked for a large restaurant chain for many years, and we would have planned maintenance schedules where you would be cleaning condensers and reviewing your Paragon clocks to make sure that your freeze cycles were on par. But smaller restaurants don't always understand that. They jump into it and don't realize how inefficient their operations make their equipment. So a little bit of preventative maintenance in those fronts. So any help that they can get, obviously, from energy suppliers is gratefully appreciated. So we will pass that information along to different businesses that may be able to take advantage of that for sure.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say, I remember talking to somebody one time, and they had replaced a refrigerator. It wasn't gas, but it was a refrigerator. And they were saying that it was a brand new one that had all these bells and whistles. And they said that savings on energy was actually paying for the new refrigerator.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, even from we have a fairly large building here, 6,000 square feet, with hundreds of lights in it. And a conversion from it into LEDs, not only it actually makes the place cooler. You may spend a bit more on the heat, but the energy savings on that is significant. And I think these are all things that with a little bit of an investment and the rebates that are available, people should be really taking a look at how they can and again, we all have a responsibility to make better choices along the lines of our saving our environment as well. So I was interested with the conversion. When you're converting hydrogen into a reusable fuel through an electronic process, and then it's pumping oxygen back into the atmosphere. Does that in some way, shape, or form help to fill some of those holes that are built in the ozone layer? I mean, is that contributing or helping in any particular way? I'm not sure who asked that for. It was just something that sort of popped in my head.
It's a really interesting question, and it's funny. One of the specialists was just here in the office with me, but he's not at his desk right now. But I can get back to you on that.
It seemed to me that you're trying to lessen your footprint, and pumping oxygen back into the environment is a good thing. So is that a twofold help, I guess, in lack of a better expression. So yeah, anyways, just it kind of sort of dawned on me, and I hadn't really considered that's how. I don't know, I haven't really paid a lot of attention to it, to be honest with you, but bit of an eye opener there. And I think in Barrie, again, with our landfill, I was looking at some numbers in terms of the number of or the amount of garbage that we've been able to reduce over the last few years, and that's incredible. But I know there's a lot of methane that's sort of produced there. So is there anything that can be done with those municipalities, those landfill sites, to recapture that, or like what are we doing in Barrie along those lines? Is there anything that we should be advocating for on behalf of our business or the community, the city?
I would just say we've definitely, the market potential is big, and we've only tapped into a very small portion of that potential. So, and we talked a little bit about municipalities, but there's also businesses, whether it's an agribusiness or food and beverage or waste management companies. There's a lot of potential there. So I think depending on the scope of it, Paul, I would recommend, again, reach out to us, come to our website. First of all, starting point, you can see what we're doing with some of the partnerships that we have, but also whether it's technical expertise or assistance is something we can provide, or just in general planning, developing the project related to renewable natural gas, or even access to financing and capital support. We have a lot of technical specialists who can support with that. So I'd say make this a starting point to really reach out and see where it can go. So there's a lot of opportunities. We've been very excited to make the announcement with our facility down in Niagara Falls, as well as our partnership with City of Toronto. And it seems like every week there's a new announcement around renewable natural gas. So really excited to be part of that.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I know that, Mayor Lehman and this council, all the councils have been fairly aggressive in trying to reduce those, those types of municipal costs as well. Not every resident's happy that they can only put so much garbage out, but there's a lot of agriculture in this area as well. So I think it's a ripe area, much like, Guelph and Kitchener-Waterloo and even down in Niagara region with the wine growing. There's lots of potential in this area as well. For development on that front. So that's interesting. And I will, certainly reach out to you and see how we can maybe get some businesses involved that may be able to take advantage of that. Great growth opportunity for our area for sure. So there are a number of questions in here, but we're all along the lines of rebates. And I think we've already beaten that one to death a little bit. So, at this point, if you guys have a wrap up, I'd be happy to give you a few minutes to do that, and then we can get back to we'll finish up in a second here and get back to our normal day. Does anyone want to do any kind of a closing there, or?
I guess the only thing I just want to say, because I know a lot of it is, again, just to reinforce, we're all residents of this community and we own businesses. So if you're looking at doing any type of renovation or new, contact us. We can help guide you. And if something does come out, with government incentives, we are always on top of it all. So we can definitely, walk you through and almost be like your energy concierge. So, please do, because I think the number one issue we have with conservation is awareness. Mm-hmm. So these type of webinars are extremely helpful for everyone.
Yeah, I would agree. I apologize that we don't have a ton of people attending, and unfortunately, it's Christmas. We've got a few things going down. The timing may have been a factor with it, but it will get lots of views, and we will, obviously promote this moving forward. And if there's anything I can do on the advocacy side, I'm more than happy to help. And for sure, whenever you have information come available, let us know, and we will definitely share it out to the membership and into the broader community. We're always trying to expand that part of our reach and get into different things that are not necessarily the common things that our chamber has been advocating for in the past. So I'm happy to help on that front, and I think today's information was fantastic. So I would like to thank you again for coming today, and I'd like to thank anyone that is watching for spending the time with us today to learn about how they can take advantage of some of these great programs and learn more about energy conservation and natural gas in our region. We've got a number of different things that are happening at the chamber over the next couple of months. One of the biggest thing is, our biggest couple of things are our I Choose Local program, which is just talks about the importance of actually keeping our dollars on the ground here in Barrie. We've got a few dollars available there, so tag your favorite business on Facebook or Instagram with hashtag I Choose Local, and you could have an opportunity to win $1,500 from our friends at Central Ontario Broadcasting. We have our rapid screening initiative, which the things have been flying off the shelves this week, I guess, with all these announcements. Great way to keep your staff and employees safe, especially moving into the Christmas season. So please take advantage of that free program that we have for you. And a couple of events coming up. Mayor's Lunch on January 26th. It's an in-person event, at least it is now. So mark your calendar. That advertising for that will come out later this week. And then we're back to our Women in Business Awards, which are in March, but our nominations are closing tonight at midnight. So please get your nominations in for worthy women within our community. We need to celebrate as best we can the people that make our business, our community great. So with that, I would say thank you very much. Have a safe weekend, and we won't probably see you before Christmas. So have a safe and happy holidays, and we'll see you maybe in the new year.
Yep, you too.
All right.
Thank you very much. We appreciate this.
Have a great day.